Now, what else did I want to talk about? There was a couple other things. Ah, yes. Now that I have gone way a ways into the game here, and talk about some union-related things that I saw. So recently, the UAW had been on strike and exacted some pretty significant concessions from the big three automakers: Stellantis, Ford, and General Motors. In fact, it's been described as a pretty record-breaking or record-setting contract. And immediately, Shawn Fain has made it clear that he doesn't intend to rest and sort of rest on his laurels on behalf of labor after this. He's still going to work for the workers. He announced recently that, or I guess announced, or it just came out that he was planning with some other unions to organize a general strike in a few years. This would be a cross-sector, it would be a multi-sector strike. It would have the greatest possible amount of leverage, but at the same time, one of the drawbacks of that kind of strike is that you'd have a hard time sort of coming up with demands that are capable of being unilaterally met across every industry, such that you could all go on strike for the same thing. Because each industry, although there are some problems that every workplace has in common, industries are, well, different from each other, and have different workplace environments. So probably the things I could foresee being part of this general strike in terms of demands would be better pay, better benefits, better working hours, things like that. And additionally, one thing I could see from this, because this is a pretty ubiquitous state of things, is the demand for more worker representation on the board of directors in running the company. I think that might be the biggest and I don't want to say most logical, but that seems like the thing that you could really use a general strike to your advantage to do. Would be to say, hey, we're the workers, we built this company, we work here day in and day out, we want some say in how things are run. Not just in the form of having a union that's capable of negotiating with management. No, we want workers to be management. In the most optimistic possible timeline, this could be like the inroad to market socialism and stuff like that. But, it's unlikely that that's going to happen. What I think might happen, though, if they pursue the same line of thinking that I am, that hey, worker representation in the company, on the board, and things like that, what I could see happening is most likely a certain percentage of the board seats by default go to workers or union representatives, things like that, because that's what other countries have done as well. Or potentially it could be an introduction of the same demands that we saw from the auto workers strike to other sectors, like the 32 or 35 hour work week, not having to work a full 40 hours per week. Sort of changing the workplace standards to enable people to not work their asses off for 40 hours, because as people have always, felt, 40-hour work weeks suck, but then as people have discovered more and more recently, it's a pretty goddamn unreasonable standard to subject people to, especially if you're thinking about them as people who have their own mental and physiological health considerations. 40-hour work week is not good for you. But that's a few years in the future. All of what I said is speculation, except for the fact that this is being organized right now. It's in the beginning stages. And I guess we will see how what becomes of this. What comes of this in 2028, if anything comes of it at all. It's possible it kind of fizzles out. But given Shawn Fain's strategizing and his dedication to being like a very active union organizer, I don't expect it to just fizzle away quite like that. I would more so expect if it were to like go away without really materializing a general strike, I would more expect it to be that like they threaten a general strike, having it like readily organized, and then the companies realize, oh shit, they're pretty serious about this, and then they sort of give them some significant demands right away, and that be like a big labor thing. But I think the fact that this even made a headline at all, let me see if I can find it, is big news in and of itself, because it speaks to how positively people view the labor movement right now, and how pro-labor of a spot the United States is in politically, at least relative to the population, and including, I guess, relative to politicians. You know, Joe Biden, for his many faults and unfortunately the way he's been acting with regards to Palestine, he is still a very pro-labor president. But obviously, Biden's not going to be president in 2028. Wait, he might be. Actually, if he's reelected, he will be president in 2028. I was thinking about after that. Yeah, here we go. 404 Media. Now, I don't know. This is probably a really niche news outlet, but I have found it. UAW tells other unions to align contracts to set up possible national general strike in 2028. Fresh off historic agreements with the Big Three, Shawn Fain, the president of the UAW, is calling on others in organized labor to begin setting up a potential massive multi-industry general strike in 2028. Yeah. When Shawn Fain was elected UAW president in March, that recent. Wow, I thought he'd been president for some time, but no, this is a new guy. He vowed, quote, war against our one and only true enemy, multi-billion-dollar corporations. Now, after negotiating... Oh, they forgot the end quotes here. Okay. Fain said the UAW set an expiration date of April 30th, 2028 for a very specific reason. It's a call to action, he said. Ooh. So yeah, it seems like this is indeed the preliminary talks for a 2028 general strike, which would be the one of the biggest, if not the biggest, mobilization of labor in American history. Which would be great for the reasons I outlined earlier, that this could exact some concessions so big it could chip away at the foundations of capitalism. Which, I mean, a lot of people might think, oh no, free market's going away. Free market's not going away, guys. It's just the big, giant, like, executive weirdos who have millions or billions even of dollars in their stock portfolios that are getting scared because of this. And if anything, it means that workers will be able to participate more in the free market, because if workers have a proportion of seats on the board of directors, like I mentioned, could be one of the demands, then that enables them to actually steer the company in a given direction, given like with respect to how it spends its money, which means that each worker could be given, as a policy, could be given capital endowments from the company. They could be given part of the company's stock that they could cash out with when they leave. It could be part of, like, you know, conventional benefits packages, you know, much more substantial salaries. It would raise the floor significantly and reduce income inequality in every company if this were to become a new policy norm. And again, none of that is guaranteed. This is all speculation. But I think that the opportunity to do a policy change like that, or a comparably sized policy change that would empower workers at every company in America, is one that you cannot pass up. You know? It is indeed, like Karl Marx said, that, like, workers have a world to gain from this. You know, when you realize how little, not just how little money, but how little influence and power and input workers have into the actual processes of production, you know, there is so much that you can get from a strike like this. And I think that's a great thing to think about. I don't know if I'm going to make that a segment, but if I do, I'm going to put it on the back burner because that's not immediately striking news, and I want to get done with another thing that I'm editing first. So, future me, if that is a segment, cut it there.